What's up everyone, it's Harry here, coach of the Cerulean City Mewtwo, here for my Speed Tour draft analysis. Now I do know that I've got the wrong logo up there. I've got the logo for the main YouTube Challengers League. This is the Speed Tour though. Starting off, we really wanted to get Mega Mawile. It's part of the reason why we joined the National Dex draft, but we did get sniped, so we didn't take that, which is unfortunate. So I wanted to pair Mega Mawile with Hirum. Woke up, got sniped on Mega Mawile, but we did get Hirum, which is still really cool. It's really going to be a lot of fun to play around. We did have 110 points to start the draft. We used 16 of them on Hirum. You can see its stats there, really well rounded, really high base stat total. It can take a hit. It can set up now with Dragon Dance, and it's got Icicle Spear, so it can run physical sets, but its move pool on the special side is just really good. So yeah, it's kind of just almost in a way like Nidoking, where it's just really hard to switch into, because if it clicks the right move, usually it just takes a kill, especially if it's running like specs. Choice Scarf's also an option, but yeah, its move pool is just really good and really cool typing as well. Next up, we took Mega Pinsir. So by not getting Mega Mawile, I still wanted to get something that was a little bit broken. Mega Pinsir, it doesn't get return in this league, so because there are no cut moves, but you know, Swords Dance, Quick Attack, Earthquake, Rock Slide, Body Slam still good with that para chance, and yeah, good attacking stats, good speed stat as well, like 105 on something that hits that hard with reasonable physical bulk. It can be really handy, so I'm looking forward to using that. I haven't used Mega Pinsir in a draft before. I have used it in battles and really enjoyed it, but this will be my first time using either Hirum or Mega Pinsir in draft, so really looking forward to that. Next up, we took Whimsicott. So Whimsicott's just really useful. That high speed stat of 116 can be really useful. Prankster, Defog, U-turn, having a fairy type's also obviously really good. So you know, Memento. It's yeah, got a lot of uses that I can take advantage of. I have drafted it before and did really well with it. So looking forward to having that again. Then we took Blastoise. Blastoise again, I took it in season 1 of the Speed Tour, which we did win. It's kind of interesting because it's more defensive in its stats with that high defense and special defense, but by running Shell Smash sets, you know, that's kind of useful as well. For those of you that watched Pat Mac in the YCL season 3, he just swept with it, or almost swept with it in that final. Just gives Shell Smash just gives it so much offensive pressure, so that's another use for it. So it's kind of hard to prep for. Yeah, and can run, you know, a bit of everything. Flip Term has been really good for it as well on the defensive sides. So yeah, really looking forward to using that. Next up, we took Registeel. So Registeel is just a really solid steel type, being able to run defensive or special defensive sets. Also with body press now and the ability to boost its defense with iron defense, it can become a sweeper, but more of a wall. It's a really solid stealth rock setter as well. Thunder Wave, Toxic, rest sets, just really useful. It's not massive for applying pressure, but it can switch into a lot of threats really well. It's yeah, just really hard to take down. It's one of those ones that when you're prepping for, you know, you kind of need options to take it out, otherwise, you know, it just sits there. So really looking forward to that. And that rounded out our Dragon Fairy Steel Core, which I think I did really well. Probably got you know, really good value with Whimsicott and Registeel, I think, for the Fairy and Steel. And obviously Hirum is my most expensive Pokemon in this draft, which You know, is more of a breaker, but I think I did quite well with that course. So pretty happy with how my draft is starting out, even though we did miss out on our first pick, which does happen. We were second last pick, so almost a wheel pick, which is nice. But yeah, looking really good at this stage. Next up, we got Pangoro. Pangoro was only 8 points, which is just crazy that it was only 8 points. Really undervalued in this draft. That high attack stat, got good abilities as well in Scrappy, Iron Fist, and Mold Breaker. So 3 really useful abilities. Applies heaps and heaps of pressure with that high attack, and obviously Iron Fist boosting its attacks, and Scrappy meaning that, you know, if your fighting switching is a ghost type, then it's just not going to help you out. It'll run through things like Dragapult as a switch in with no problems, and Dark obviously pairing up with it. It's just really hard to switch in to either of those. There aren't many that can take either a knockoff or a close combat. So yeah, kind of play those mind games, which is really good. Next up, we got Sheenalaw. Sheenalaw was quite cheap as well. It's something that I wanted to draft for quite a while, but haven't had the opportunity to. Just haven't been able to fit it into a team. So I think around the time I got Registeel and Blastoise, I think I was sort of thinking, you know, I could probably fit it in this time. That 80 speed is kind of cool because you can potentially run Trick Room sets or Choice Scarf sets, or you know, somewhere in the middle with a Calm Mind. So depending on what you're playing against, it is kind of easy to fit in and mess around with that speed start. And obviously that 145 special attack is no joke. It's going to hit things really hard. It also gives some immunities, so obviously immune to normal and fighting with that ghost type. It gets flash fire to be immune to fire, and you know, you can pop an air balloon on it to be immune to ground as well. So really useful in that regard. And that finishes off our Fire, Grass, Water core, which again I think we did really well. Mix between offense and defense, which is all really nice to have in your cores. Couple of momentum gainers in U-turn and flip turn from Whimsicott and Blastoise, which is good as well. Next up, we got Nihiligo. So I think quite a few people wanted Nihiligo. I can't believe it lasted till the 8th pick. It wasn't originally part of our plan. Originally, I did want Nidoking, which was a couple of points cheaper. But you know, that's my fault. I should have tried to pick it up earlier. But I think in the 8th round, getting Nihiligo, which was a little bit expensive, but I mean, it's really good. Can run special defensive wall sets with Toxic Spikes. It can be a Meteor Beam sweeper. Can be a Choice Scarf sweeper. Really good. Yeah, really good uses, especially with that 103 speed. It's kind of easy to creep a lot of offensive mons that sit around that 95 speed or 100 speed. So yeah, I think I'll be able to use this pretty well. And it's got you know, reasonably good move pool with things like Thunderbolt and Grass Knot. And like we said, with Meteor Beam, just gives it that use. Like the standard Meteor Beam sweeper set, you can run your speed to be higher than your special attack, and then potentially boost speed and special attack in one go, and then it'll run through most teams. I think the only type that it doesn't really hit is Steel. Heliolisk, I'm looking forward to using Heliolisk. It's good to have a normal type, but also that dry skin ability. It can take advantage of sun teams with solar power as well. Glare is really nice, especially with that 109 speed. Really easy to play around with that. Interesting move pool as well with things like Surf and Grass Knot. Hyper Voice is really good as well. Discharge is really good. Volt Switch. So lots of uses I can see happening for this, and reasonably good special defense. So it can take some hits, but not really on the physical side. Next up, we've got Claydol. So I did need to get a ground type, and I was running out of points. Claydol isn't amazing, and it was only 6 points. It's more, you know, Stealth Rock, Rapid Spin. It's got Teleport as well. It's not amazing, but it can still definitely fit into teams. And I was a little bit concerned about my lack of ground type switching. So having a Levitate Pokemon just gives me that extra immunity. So it is immune to electric and ground, which is pretty nice because, you know, my team doesn't take either of those super well. Our last Pokemon using our last 2 points is Electrode. I can't see myself using Electrode too often, but things like screens and explosion just seem like a use that I can take advantage of. That 150 speed as well. It's got a couple of things it can do reasonably well, so we'll see if we can make use of this at least once or twice. I think we did quite a good job in covering our roles in this draft. So starting off with our hazards, we did we did draft 4 Stealth Rock setters, and we also got Toxic Spikes, which I think Toxic Spikes is always pretty good to have as an option. I would have liked Spikes as well, but you know, I think this is fine. I think between Registeel and Claydol, they'll probably be our 2 main rock setters. Nihiligo, like at times, it can probably run rocks, probably more likely to run Toxic Spikes in the odd game though. But yeah, I think we did all right in this department. Just I would have liked to have Spikes as well, but that's fine. We've also got some hazard removal options. I think it's always good to have at least 2 removal options between Rapid Spin and Defog. Whimsicott having Prankster Defog is really nice. But having 2 Rapid Spinners with different types and not sharing weaknesses, obviously except for Freeze Dry, is really good. So yeah, really happy with what we did there. Lots and lots of momentum, which I always like to draft, and a good mix between fast pivots and slow pivots. So on the slow side, we've got Pangoro, Claydol, and Blastoise. Teleport is really nice with that -6 priority now, meaning that you do switch out after taking attacks, so you can bring something in for free, which is really good for things like, you know, Hirum, Nihiligo, and Mega Pinsir that really want to come in for free. And then our fast pivots with Heliolisk, Whimsicott, and I don't expect to use Electrode as a Volt Switcher or Teleporter for that matter. I think I'm probably more likely to use Electrode for Explosion if I want to bring something in for free. And then we've also got Memento on Whimsicott, which is pretty cool as well. Again, to lower stats and bring in something for free, which is really useful. And then our speeds, we've got quite a good mix of speeds. Doesn't perform too well in Trick Room, but I think Registeel is really good at absorbing Trick Room, so we can get through that. And then, yeah, good mix in between. Like the fact that our middle speed Pokemon is Hirum is kind of interesting. Like we've got quite a lot of you know, fast Pokemon in there. Our Mega's quite fast. Heliolisk and Whimsicott, having those speed stats is really useful. We've got Sheenalaw, Hirum, and Nihiligo, which you can all make use of. Choice Scarf. Blastoise can boost its speed with Shell Smash. So yeah, overall pretty happy with our draft, and we'll see how it performs. We'll be doing matches every, I think, 3 days, as it is a speed tour. So yeah, looking forward to it. I think, you know, we drafted pretty well. We've got one of each type in our first 10 Pokemon, and then Electrode was just the you know, last round pick, which we just wanted to get something that is usable, which I think we did. So yeah, I think we'll do all right. So yeah, see you back for the matches.